So we're going to talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. Um, one of the problems with me editing video in this format, though, is that you can't really hear it. But I'll show you graphically what stuff looks like, so you guys can imagine actually hearing the audio. I know that it's an issue here with the Premiere. All right, so we're back to Premiere, and I know that the last time we probably talked a little bit about the rubber band in audio. I just wanted to go over a little slower in detail some of the tools and sort of review. So remember, here, let me remember we're working completely from one folder. So all our media is in one folder. So if I look on the desktop here, um, demo one, I have all my media and my Premiere projects are all in one folder. Now, if you're working in something like iMovie or Final Cut, generally speaking, a Mac will want to save that stuff automatically to movies. So you'll see like my movie or iMovie blah blah blah, right? You'll see that stuff in there. And that's okay too. Like keeping your media all in there is fine. But with Premiere, it's best to sort of dedicate one folder so you can take it with you. Um, so last time, remember we talked about titles. We talked about both legacy titles, and we talked about graphics titles with the graphics tab. So let's look a little bit more in depth into new sequences. So if I go sequence, remember I'm using an iPhone. Your settings could be different. Um, sequence 2, remember you can title everything. So what is this? More frogs. Say okay. And external audio. So if I take a clip and I move it here, it's going to ask me to change it. I can change sequence settings because I want them to match. Now, if I play this, remember spacebar plays, you can see my audio over here. So generally speaking, we want our audio levels to be decent, not too soft, not too loud. If they go into the red here, so let's drag this down, you want to make sure you turn them down, right? Oops, do that. So let's say I could grab my rubber band in the middle here and I could turn it up like 8 decibels. I don't know if I could. All right, so up there in the sort of -6 range, that's a pretty good. Those are pretty good sound levels. Now let's talk about adding some external audio. So let's say I like grabbed a song. Most of you probably don't still work from MP3s, but I can and do still work from MP3s or MP4s rather, or MP3s sometimes. So let's say I'm just getting a song, which you guys can't see. So say I'm working off of like iTunes, and like I can actually just let's see, how can I get these now? Can I just used to just be able to grab them? Yeah, still can. So in iTunes, I can just grab the song and it'll automatically copy it. So I'm just gonna copy it to the desktop. Maybe. What was that? The scissor game? Okay. Um, so go back to the Finder, and I'm gonna look for that on the desktop. Oh, there it is. And then I can drag it into my folder, right? So there I have this MP4 from the action design in my folder. And so to bring it in here, if I right click on my project window in the bin, I can get import. If my bin is full, I can also right click up here and get it, because if it's full, then right clicking will generally result in like information about stuff sometimes. But so you have different options on where to click, but right clicking usually um, does what you need. So let's say I take and import this MP4, just drag it to the timeline. And now we're probably going to see some dramatic changes in the audio levels, because this is professionally mastered audio. So I'm gonna play it. Keep your eyes on the bars over here, and you can see how loud it's going to get. Okay, so as soon as your audio goes to the red, that's too loud. What's going to happen is you're either going to do speaker damage, or you're going to have super distorted audio, or both. So you want to make sure to keep your audio out of the red. Um, to do that, for one thing, I had him way turned up, but maybe I don't want him to be, maybe I want him to be loud and I want my music to be soft. There are some other things you can do. Like you can see this audio just from its disposition, the way it was mastered. It's pretty loud. If I right click on this audio, I can do audio gain, and I can actually normalize peak value or normalize all peaks. Um, so like if I normalize this to say -6, you're going to see all of the audio range drop. And so now, all right, so watching the audio, I'm just waiting for a loud part of the music. Right? So now I've got it mastered to a point where I'm not going into the red and it's like pretty solidly up there and things are going to be okay. So there's your first kind of option here, is to right click and do audio gains and drop it down -4, -2, -6. Those are kind of the ranges you would go to normalize the audio. Now, oops. Um, with that said, there are more audio options. So I think I showed before, let's zoom in. I showed before how you could take the pen tool and you could draw a fade, right? So if I have 2 points along here, I can draw a fade in. Now, if I hold down Command or Control, probably on a PC it's going to be Control. I can pull out a Bezier curve, and I can change my curve on the timeline. Right? So on the track, I can go in here and I can change how the audio gets louder. So I could make it go like that instead of in a linear fashion. I can make it a curve. So like curve it in. Right? You can see the audio coming up. Right? So you have some kind of direct control options of audio this way. But if you go to the audio settings, so if I change to the audio mode up at the top, you're going to see that I have a whole bunch more options, including if you're in Premiere and you own a real version of the newest version, you can actually test out different stock they have a whole bunch of stock music in here, moods and genres and filters and stuff. Now, audio is interesting in Premiere because it has both track properties. Here, let's see. So it has both, let's see, it has both track properties and it has track properties and it has clip, was a better word, like clip properties, um, which seems a bit confusing, right? So clip keyframes versus track keyframes. So here I can like change volume. So I can use this little icon down here to change from clip keyframes to track keyframes. Well, what's the difference between clip and track? Track is there no matter what happens to the clip. So let's say I went in here and I did track volume and I drew a bunch of stuff. Like I came in here and I dropped this and I moved this up and I did this and I did this and I did this and I kept changing this all along the track. Now, if I go in, got like endpoints and stuff here, and go back to the clip, you'll see the clip has properties. But if I delete that clip, my track keyframes are still in place. Clear in out, so I don't know how I accidentally put an endpoint there. So that means whatever I put into this, so if I put another audio clip into this track, waiting for it, my audio in here is going to follow that volume control. And it's too loud. So, so I could go into clip keyframes and I could turn all my volumes down. And my track keyframes for volumes will still be there. So know that you have, and here you have two different mixers. So you have the track, and so watch the slider on the track mixer here. Right, for audio 2. All right, so you have two different ways of controlling audio. You have track audio and you have clip audio. You can see the handy part of doing track, but clip will also work. Clip, I believe if you move it, so if I move this clip, let me switch to clip. If I move the clip, oh, actually, I just alt dragged it. But if I move this clip down here, I think the clip volumes go with it, but the track audio stays with the track. Will stay with audio 2. So it's up to you sort of how you break that audio up, and whether that even affects you. But I want to show you something else about the audio. So let's say this is audio 3. So I have my audio 3 slider here. If I am in, so this is my track slider. You can look at my clip slider as well. this I could write keyframes, meaning I could like click this button. And you can see I moved the slider up and down while I was playing, and it wrote a big old mess of keyframes. So let's just back up for a second. What is a keyframe? A keyframe is the change in something from point A to point B. So you start at keyframe, the first keyframe, and the change happens till the second keyframe. So here you can see I just messed with the slider a whole bunch, and my keyframes were just nuts, and I have them all over the place. Um, that works with the clip. You just click this, and you can write keyframes. Audio track mixers will have a slightly different way of doing it. They have latch, touch, and write, and they have read, and they have off. And these will allow you to master on the fly as you go. So you could conceivably like master the audio as it's going over the clip or as it's playing. Um, I've now thoroughly messed this up. Um, and to get these to clear can take a little bit of effort. Um, but we'll cover that more in depth. But realize you can change your audio on the fly in here, either through the audio track mixer or the audio clip mixer. Right. So let's go back again and talk about other keyframe things that you can do, right? So if I go back to editing, so that was pretty much audio in a kind of condensed form. There's two types of audio, there's track and there's clip, and tracks stay with the tracks and clips stay with the clip. And to look at them, you change them through there. So let's say I drop this in here. Now, if you don't immediately see, come on, track. Why are you being tricky? There we go. If you don't immediately see your, I don't know where it went. Oh, what happened to my little transition thing? Oh, I guess you've got to be in. You got to have it. Oh, nope. There's a keyframe there, and it's not giving me the audio. It's weird. What happened to it? That's weird. So my little, see, audio track 3 has it, but I must have deleted it by accident from the other track. Huh. Anyway, so we'll keep going. That is super weird. Why did you, what happened? Oop. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, I just didn't open it up wide enough. Sorry, because I had both tracks there. There it is. There's the keyframe, and there's your keyframe selector next to it. All right, good. It's all there. I just didn't open it wide enough. No problem. Let's get rid of one of these tracks. Let's get rid of one of these tracks. What other uses do we have for keyframes? Well, all effects are going to be run through keyframes. So if I select any clip, I'm going to see my stack. In my stack, I have position control, scale control, rotation, and anywhere I see a stopwatch, that basically means I can put a keyframe on that and change it. Whatever that is. So like if I opened up rotation here, and I started at the beginning of this track and I put down the stopwatch, that's going to allow me to put a keyframe on here. Oops, I deleted it. It'll automatically put a keyframe. It'll allow me to put a keyframe here, and then so if I wanted to change something about this, So like say by the middle, I wanted this to do a full rotation, right? Right, that would rotate it 180 degrees from this keyframe to that keyframe, right? Right, then if I put another keyframe like here, and I just kept going, make him go a 360. So that's a one-time rotation. But you see now the time period has shortened considerably. So watch him go around. Right? So he's going to go real slow. And then, right? So the time between keyframes is essential to making, to determining where it's going. Okay, good. I'm just checking to make sure you guys are all here. Effects. All the effects can be controlled with keyframes. So, and these are your basics, opacity, time remapping, I'll show you at a slightly later date. But then if you open up your effects, either through going to the effects mode at the top or opening your effects panel from down here. So let's just show it. Let's go to effects. Group. So effects, they'll end up on the right here. And effects you drag directly to the clip. So remember, you can resize stuff. So if you need this to have your stack show better, we have audio effects, we have presets, we have all kinds of stuff. But let's talk about video effects. Adjust the stored image control, whatever. So if you wanted to adjust, so levels, lighting effects, I don't know, maybe distort is the easiest way to get some kind of change. So mirror, maybe. Here you go. So you just drag out your effect to the clip. Now, you notice my bar up here turned red. That means that my rendering of that is not really finished. It is a warning that my playback is not going to be it's not going to be accurate, my playback if I see a red bar. And so let's look at what mirror does in the right in here. So if I change, oops, where are we? There we go. Shoop. Right. So I have a mirror reflect, and I can change the center of my mirror reflection. I did not put a keyframe down, so it's just going to look like this the whole time. Right. So you can play around with all of these to get all kinds of different things, like stylize, whatever. let's talk about also, while we're here, we've got a couple minutes, let's talk about masking. So let's say I put mosaic on here. Just a note, the more effects you have, the longer your renders will be when you try to output your video. And we haven't talked about output yet, so um, I'll talk about output right after I do this. So mosaic. So let's say I needed to censor something or whatever. I can end up with a mask. So anytime with any layer, you can click these little button and it'll make a rectangular mask or a circular mask. And then I have, right, then I have this, right, I have the ability to move it around. If I shift select those, right, I can move both of them at once. I can change my mask feather. That's if it has a soft edge or not. So you can make your edges softer or not soft. I want my horizontal blocks to have a lot more blocks, so it just looks more pixelated, right? So if I just needed to, like, digitally blur something out, I could do that with a mask like that. Now remember, right, that mask is going to be staying in place with it. Okay, so let's say we are satisfied with this. I'm not saying we are, but let's say we're satisfied with this. Say I've put titles, I've done my whole thing, right? Like boom, just do frogs. Um, I remember Command D for whatever dissolve you have set. So fade that in, fade it out, Command D or Control D. So now let's say I save this and I want to output this sequence. So the first thing is I select the sequence. I make sure the sequence has no in-out points. And I select it, which means I have the blue box around it. And then I'm going to go to File, Export Media, or Command M. I'll wait for it to finish. So here now we see our export settings. These are our export settings that we want to have. We want to have H.264, match source high bitrate. You want to make sure that 1920 by 1080 matches 1920 by 1080 here, so that these two things match. If they're lower than that, it's fine. If they're higher than that, it's fine, but these two things need to match. This will tell me my file size, 84 megabytes. The source range could be, you could change this to entire sequence, but the default is sequence in outs. So that's why we say don't have any in out points. So my entire video, remember this is frames, seconds, minutes. So it's 1 minute, 5 seconds, and 7 frames, which is a quarter of a second, basically, right? At 30 frames a second. And then I'm just going to go export. Oh, wait, I'm going to cancel for a second. So output name. See this blue here? This determines where the video is going to go. This is pretty important. Output name is the name of the video, right? So it was going to send it. It was going to send my More Frogs video to the movies file, but I don't want it going to the movies file. I want it going to the desktop file that I just made here. Um, right, demo one. I want my More Frogs video going into my same folder. Right, so it's important that you look to see where in output name where this video is going, and then you're going to hit export. So if I had just had normal cuts and a pretty simple video, my output time would probably be about 1-to-1 for this computer. My computer's pretty fast, but since I have special effects, you can see it's estimating my time for a 1-minute video at about whatever it was, whatever it started at, like a little over a minute and a half, because I have more effects in it. So the more effects you have, the more time the render is going to take. So I've got about 38 seconds. So if and most of this class is not any sort of long form video, be prepared. Like if you've done a 5 or 10 minute long video and there are a lot of effects, the render time may be longer. And if your computer is really slow, it could be even longer. It all depends on your video card and your processor speed and how much available RAM you have. All right, so there's my video. It was exported successfully. So if I go and I look in here, now I have a video called More Frogs, right? Which I could show. All right. So now let's take a quick look. So that's the basics, right? We've got titles, we've got audio, we've got cutting, and now let's talk a little bit about YouTube. So I already have a YouTube account. You guys can set up your YouTube accounts. And then, of course, you can just delete them after this class. But so if I go to Google, YouTube, and it's going to default to my other user. Oh, no, it defaulted to this one. All right. So I can go over here to my videos, or I can go up here to create really fast, upload video. And here I can just select a file. So like if I wanted to do, where are we? Desktop, demo one. If I wanted to put more frogs up there, I just do more frogs. And now YouTube does its thing. I've got to tell it a title. I've got to tell it a description. It will pick a thumbnail for me, but you can control thumbnails. You can upload a thumbnail yourself. I'll probably delete this video if I post it. Jeffers about frogs. Right. Made for kids. No, it's not made for kids. You can decide on the stuff. Could be made for kids. Age restrictions, no. Next. Next. Private, public, whatever. Save or published. Public, anyone can watch. You can decide on this depending on how you want to let us look at it, the stuff you do. And now it's uploading. So you can see I've got 86%. It's got about 16 seconds left. And it takes YouTube a decent amount of time to like figure out how to process these. So like my premiere demo for that's up here on the channel, that took it quite a while. 2 people have viewed it. Right, but there it is. Boom. Now that's up there. And now I can watch it or edit stuff about it and go to my actual channel, your channel, right? So more frogs video.